Hello. So, this is not the next episode. So today it will be a watch-through. So, a watch-through, a making of, a little bit of both. I hope it won't be too chaotic. So I think I have too much thing to say. So I will try to keep the thing a little bit organized, like with a time skip, so you can bounce from one part to another if you prefer to just have an idea of some technical aspects without taking care of your characters. You can, because I will probably talk about the characters too. So yeah, I will try to keep everything organized. Sorry my advance is sometimes you hear some interruption. I have a very I don't have a lot of breath, so sometimes when I need to talk a lot and repeat again and again can happen, but I had to pause between the words, so I hope it won't be annoying for you. Doing my best. So I will just start stopping on the very first screen. So I know that it was probably super confusing for everyone here, because I teased Machinima about Pandaria, and we start with snow, and we start in Northrend. Well, I think it was, since I have many characters that will be implemented in the story, many of my original characters, a lot of orcs, it was important to give some background, at least some current background to everyone, and one way to connect all these characters was to start with Northrend. And this is the official explanation. The less official explanation, if you know me from Twitter, you may know that I'm a huge fan of Dranosh, Zhu-en. So for me it was just the best opportunity if I had to do a very big Machinima. Just one, but looked like something a little bit good. I just wanted Dranosh Zhu-en to be here, so I would have found any way to get this scene in Northrend from a way to another. So I'm sorry, it's just me being a weird fan of his character, but I think many people just forget, except for the cinematics with Zhu-en doing BFA. Okay, so the very first scene was Northrend. So it's the scene that I start preparing in 2022, just after Daddy Dancing, my very first Machinima, and we can still feel this minimalistic environment. It's quite rich because there's a lot of snow to cover, but globally it's a very small scene compared with what I did afterward for Pandaria. So for the origin, when I start planning about having this scene in Northrend, I know I didn't have the level, the skill to do something very elaborated, so I cannot do the super big fight of the warp gate, these kind of things with battlefield or plenty of characters. So I decided to make something like a patrol, so it's a place where we're nearby the Ice Crown Citadel, with only few characters. Still in the scene, everything is crafted. So for instance, the tent, I took a model that already exists for the orc. I think it's from the World of Draenor, and I just make it more snowy, icy, and I think it looks good. We don't see that much the details, but it was all repainted, so it was pretty nice. The fire camp was also made by myself, so same as where I don't see it that much, but it's really animated by the driver, globally activating and moving the fire. The stone also are also made by myself, so just a very quick texturing on the subdivide cube, but still we are here. And the snow is all made with an add-on on the blender, but it's real snow. So this you you can create the texture and then apply the texture to everything. That's how also I make this very nice effect on the grave that we see a little bit later. And the landscape is also another add-on, that's name is landscape globally, and you can create the mountains using planes, so it doesn't cost that much CPU, so you don't have to sculpt every mountains, etc. I didn't want to have the big maps of Northrend just to show these tiny pieces with few characters. And globally this scene has been rendered twice because of course I start with this scene and I improve because of the Pandaria. So then I globally redid all the animation and re-rendered again. So first version was finished in March 2023 and then we did everything I think in September, and I had the newest version ready for end of October. So concerning the characters, the model of the different characters, I think they are probably the oldest one I did, of course, because I start with Northrend, so it makes sense, but they were the first ones ready. So that's why they had sometimes rigging problems, and the texture was sometimes a little bit awkward or clumsy, but I think it worked okay. It will be better for the one who will be still there, of course, but it will be better in the next scenes, I think. So of course, the very first model that I did was Dranosh surfing. So that's why also that's probably the one that has the most problem in the rigging, these kind of things. So it took me some time to make it working, and that's why we don't see this model fighting too much, because it has a lot of broken stuff everywhere. Ugly, not texture, but ugly rigging for sure. So some pieces sometimes were not that great. But I like it. I like Dranosh. So, so for customization, globally I just start from the Verox Surfing's BFA model, and I just grab from it and change the color, of course. So I just repaint everything based on Mega Orcs, and also, well, changing red to purplish to fit with the low poly Dranosh model. And it was a bit painful because it was the very first time I was doing a full armor. Now I'm better, but at this time it was very something new to me. You can see that the materials I chose were sometimes a bit too shiny in an environment that was very snowy, so probably not the best choice, but that's okay. I'm also super proud of the weapon, even if we don't see it that much. I'm very sad about it, but I love the weapon because I really worked hard to give him a high poly version of the one he was using in the 12th grade. So I'm proud of this. It's an old model, but I like it. And yeah, the rig was not that great, especially for the hair, the braids. So that's why we can see that I cut some. I'm very ashamed about doing this, but it was just too awful with metallic stuff on the neck, plus the necklace. I was like, okay, let's cut this. That's fine, I think we don't notice it that much. And yeah, I redid the necklace also, because I didn't find the model. So I just import the texture, I think, from Warhead directly, and I just took the texture and placed it on something very low poly that I crafted very quickly, and that was okay. It was not perfect because it was very flat, but it has the right texture, so I think it was a nice detail to make sure it was there. Okay, then the other characters, we have Jiora'Kirh and we have Kirk. So for Jiora'Kirh, the model was not that elaborated. I just wanted something that looked like a sergeant, so very good orcish shoulder pads, even if they are probably not from the right time. I think these ones are from Lord of Draenor, if I recall, or something like this. And the boots are globally the one from BFA, so it was just crafting something that looks very orcish, and I will see later. So you can see that his weapon is a little bit glossy. This is an effect that I wanted. Maybe it's too glossy, but I wanted his weapon to be in stone, not in metal, but a stone that is very, very sturdy, very stiff, and very as strong as you can have some metal. So something like a very old orcish weapon that is still pretty relevant, and probably for him more relevant than having something crafted metallic weapon. And you could see also that Kirk has also a more customized weapon. So it's like they are orcs, but the army was a little bit disorganized, so they globally brought their own weapons. That was the idea. And here's the model for Jiora'Kirh. So Kirk, my orcish warrior. Well, same as well, the model was a bit crafty, although I had some idea of what should be there, based on some sketch that I did from the Northrend time, and also from Alterac. So I did a mix to make sure that my orc is feeling okay, warm enough. So he has his fur coat that was awesome and horrible to animate, to keep in place. Of course, he also has his necklace that has a very strong meaning for him. And I did some very rough customization. Of course, I want him to have some gloves, woolen gloves, the tower of the Untold. And globally, that was pretty it. We don't see it that much, but his boots are also customized. The boots that he crafted himself, so as well. So it has this very weird metal, because he wants something that can be very protective against the ghouls, and antibacterial metal are copper. So as well, these boots are very enriched in copper. If you want the meaning about having very yellowish shoes in Northrend. So this, and the only thing that I don't like in this model is the helmet, because first I wanted something that was really like woolen, curling everything, but it was not possible for me to do it at this time. So I decided to drop it, so it kept this very rough texture that looks very awful. That looks very grunt. I like the fact that he has his horns. So one thing about this character, so he has leucism. I will probably discuss more during the scene when I will be talking about the cutscenes, etc. But so it has this very pale skin with blue eyes, but pale skin in a scene that was just covered with snow, reflecting light everywhere. So it turned out almost angelic, shiny everywhere. So I had really to turn off the lights to make sure that we can see that it's not like a glowfish in the scene. So that was the funny thing, but I did not anticipate that much. So yeah, I prevent you from seeing a shiny orcs in Northrend. It's a very rare Pokemon. Spoken orc. Also, I love the voice of the narrator. I know it's not the original voice that you used to hear in English for Dranosh, because it really gives a nice tone of the scene. So here we start seeing other characters that we will see better after. So Jiora'Kirh on the left and Jiora'Kirh on the right. I really like this cutscene with the memorial, with the alliance of the Horde. So then here we switch to another character, a human. Yes, we have human also in this story. So this guy is Karl Weslin. So he's a young officer from the 4th Battalion of the Royal Army. He's one of my orc's best friends. We discuss about it later. And the design is inspired by my grandpa. Long story short, yeah, I give his character so dark skin, dark hair, and also some clumsiness, and also the taste for guitar. But we will probably see later, I hope. I really like this character, and when I was thinking about giving a human friend to my orc, it was just obvious that it will be someone like Karl. And I really like the transition between Karl and this other character that is Thiok. So Thiok is an orc from the Walsung clan. He's very fierce, very strong, brutal, very loyal to the orcs, very loyal to his warship. Yeah, there is only one problem with Thiok. He is very racist. And humans are just cannot stand human, cannot stand everyone else, so but he especially hates humans. That's why he calls sometimes them piglets. Just he really hates them. So yeah, he's racist, but like very deeply racist. He is a Corcron, and during Machinima, during the Master of Pandaria, he will be an officer as well, so it's almost an overlord. And then we see this orc that looks very small. This character is Jiora'Kirh. My old orcish warrior that I love so much. I can spend, I think, hours talking about this character, but I won't do this here, but yeah. So, character that I have for such a long time. In many D&D campaign, in Warcraft, or Cruise World of Warcraft. I just love this character. So, this character is a black rock, even if we can see that he has a very pale skin. It's because he has leucism, so he's probably being an albinos with blue eyes. Gives him nothing special, just he has this pale skin, and that's it. Just the fact that since he's a black rock and a former species, he is very cold. That's very, very cold for him here. And as you can see on the bottom of the screen, there is translation for Orcish. So in this Machinima we will have Orcish, not the original one from the Warcraft movie, but some that are crafted, especially in the scene with Thiok, because Thiok is not, he doesn't want to speak any other language than Orcish, so we'll have to deal with that. And as a short explanation, Kaju is the word to talk about human. It means cheese. So you consider that humans smells like cheese. I could explain longer the etymology, but that's all what you need to know for now. Thiok is living the worst day in his life. Have to deal with so many people being open-minded. There was a small drift of the eyes because Thiok was the old model, but I just placed an armor on it. So the eye rigging at this time was not that great. I think I improved right now, but at this time it was not that great. So sometimes the eyes tend to slip away. So thankfully it's not seen that much here. looks weird because nothing makes really sense for now, but I really like the fact that it runs back between Jiora'Kirh and Karl because we are so different. And at the same time, they share some sense of sacrifice and loyalty. I really like Karl's reaction. And the fact that Kirk already immediately confronts Jiora'Kirh. Kirk is like a black sheep. He's quite a rebel in the old army. He's an old grunt, so he has nothing to prove to anyone. I like how they meet again. It's very cool. Northrend is very important part of the lore for these two characters. They'll be also overlord later, but we won't see, of course, but I hope someday I will just do a short animation about it. So yeah, Northrend is a very important part for their friendship. They really reinforce their friendship. And one thing in this scene also, globally, Kirk and Karl are globally the same height, because they are both 1m70, 1m70, yeah. So it's just that Kirk is way much heavier because he's an orc, very massive, very squat, with a lot of big plate, heavy plate armor. So even if they globally size the same, Kirk trying to sink in the very powdery snow in Northrend. So that's why in this scene, globally Kirk starts having snow through his knee. So he looks much smaller, and Karl tried to tease him about it. Also, the punch on the shoulder is a sign of friendship, orcish friendship. So you punch your friend to remind him that you're his buddy. The fact is, when you have an orcish friend, you need to be careful when you punch your human friend. Otherwise, you can break your friend. So needs to be careful. But Kirk is okay. He knows how to do it. I had to do the lip sync on this part of the scene because I could not ask Jonah to just voice for one sentence here, especially with all the rest of the voice actors. For the prologue, I just want one narrator and no one else talking. Which was probably a mistake because it was missing globally. Some effects were a bit missing. So that's globally my voice speaking in English here, if you had the original file. Yeah, at least I can say I voiced Dranosh. I'm stopping here. So here we see a Death Knight with two ghouls. So same as well. I think people didn't get what was going on, except that it was a little bit gore with a human head here. Sorry. So this character is Tarian. So he's an elf. He's a Death Knight from the Arthos generation of Death Knight. It was globally just a feature because we're in Northrend, and it was okay to place this character here. So this character was one that I had in my very first Machinima, Deadly Dancing, with Deadly Dancing. I think nobody here watched it. Maybe it's better. Globally, to summarize it, it was just orc, gay, dancing and daily with ghouls. So yeah, I think that's a way to summarize this very first Machinima that I did on Blender. And Tyrion was here, was my orc Death Knight's best friend, who was just super enthusiastic about my Death Knight having a date and trying to make this date perfect, but with Tyrion's mind means with music, with disco, with ghoul, dancing on thriller, well, yeah. So I decided that as a way to say goodbye to my old Machinimas, giving a feature to Tyrion. And the ghoul are Swan, and the white one is Archibald. and I love them so much. So I was happy to give them a cool, very short feeder with a bit of fighting. It was fun. Yeah, so the transition between Northrend and the second part is, I think, confusing too. But I had to introduce the next character, and it has some connection with Karl, so that's why I decided to, whenever Karl casts the light, it switched to the other scene. So now we're on Lordaeron, globally, and we'll see Gladys, my undead character, that I will be voicing in the Machinima. The scene with Gladys was very easy to do. First, I didn't know how to go around with the idea of her waking up in her coffin. I have a good idea how she ended up in Pandaria. Sadly, that's not the part that we will see, probably, or in a spin-off, something like that. It's a very nice story, but I don't think I will have time. But when she just wakes up in the coffin, I was like, okay, else I see her in the cemetery, but... So I just decided to create like a mausoleum, something that is very common also in my island for the rich family to have this kind of structure. So I decided to place her here. So a very short structure, and a statue, very simple. So I craft everything globally in this scene, except I think the tower, but I took the texture for something from the Scarlet Monastery, I remember. But everything else is crafted by hand. Even the flowers. I had drawing flowers, and I had to make this. And I had to make Gladys flower, of course. So, yeah. I had much more fun with the blue drape. I was super happy how it turned out. So one thing that was really awful in this scene was the statue. And first, at the very, very first, I wanted to have something like a spirit healer. Looking at Gladys, and we don't know what happened, but at least we have an idea of resurrection with a nice glowy, probably more golden style, the spirit healer. But then I saw the models that were completely broken. I tried to get a Kyrian. So okay, it's fine, let's take a Kyrian. Once it will be texturized, I could work from it. It was awful. It was even worse. It was completely, the texture was bad, the rigging was terrible, it looked awful. I don't know, but it was just... It's not to talk badly about Shadowlands, but no, it was very, very painful. I spent more time on this Kyrian to make finally a statue because I decided that no way this thing can be animated. So I spent more time just trying to squeeze it so at least he had this prayer shape, pose, but everything else, that was terrible. And even I just gave up. At first I wanted to have something very nice, very marble, and I gave the same thing like the square underneath because it was just nothing was working. And it was just for 1 second, so I said okay, let's keep it simple. There is no way to inflict too much pain for nothing. Seriously. It was not even enjoyable, so no. Forget what I said. Okay, so yeah, this scene was pretty easy to do afterward. After I end up with a Kyrian, I was done with a Kyrian. It was a statue, stay here, we see it only a few minutes and stop. Then that was fine. Everything went super smoothly. Gladys was just very easy to animate, very cute. So yeah, then there was not that much problem. The teacup extra, I add this at the very last seconds. I just want one item that connects Gladys to her past, and in case I didn't have time to go thorough about it, we'll see this teacup a little bit later. And yeah, now we start. This scene was, I think I spent the most of the time of the Machinima on the world scene of Pandaria. I started crafting the model, I think it was something like in February, March, and I finished the scene, I think it was June. So it was pretty long time working on this scene, working on the models. So this scene is definitely the more complex I did for the prologue, because it does, you can see, you should be able to see if I did my job correctly with the capture, so you'll be able to see how the scene turns out. The fact is, sorry, you don't see the texture, because I already removed a lot of things from this scene and nothing is linked correctly, properly, because I didn't know how to do my job. So everything will be pinkish, so sorry. It's packed somewhere, but I don't know where, so sorry. I was too enthusiastic to remove space in my computer. So anyway, so you can see that it's a very big scene compared with Northrend. We have this big battlefield covered with Pandaria everywhere, on the floor, everywhere. Something that Duren told me very early in this scene when I was just starting crafting it. Told me, do not forget to break the horizon. Break a lot of things in this scene, even the characters. So I think I did a good job breaking the horizon for sure, and the rest also. And one thing that in the beginning they had much less mountain than in the end, because first I was thinking, okay, one plan, the other plan, and then later with the fighting, I realized that sometimes it was completely empty on the background, so I had to add more mountains here and there, and sometimes we had some mountains that slide, so I had to redo sometimes some rendering because I forgot the timeline. I re-rendered something and the mountain was sliding, surfing on the battlefield. Yay! The skybox is also made, so it's very easy to do, just some procedural nodes, very easy. But globally there was two different skybox. There is one for the clouds and one for the sun globally, for the light of the sun. First I really thought about animating the clouds, but I gave up because it really gives something, sometimes since I change from one side to another, there was some time skip, it really gives something, that would be very nauseous. So definitely the models, at least Han-zhu and Tho-tzen, are much more elaborated than all the models I did in Northrend, I think. So the point is, I start Northrend in between the time I start Northrend and I start these models, I had the opportunity to train much more on the customization. So this gave me the confidence to then work on my samurai armors. So of course, the model that took me a lot of time was Han-zhu, because he has this very elaborated armor that will give him this status of the noble daimyo. So we need to have a lot of details, and the model from which I start was also pretty not awful, because it would be very ungrateful to say that, but there was a lot of work to do. So you can see here on the screen how it starts. So globally I start from one model that I found in Mist of Pandaria models, I think. And of course, as you can see also on my screen, I usually work from reference, so different picture that I grabbed from the internet, but I just here as reference. I don't copy them. They are just here for reference to help me during the process. The biggest challenge was first to get something the way I wanted. So get rid of all this round stuff on the shoulder pad and on the helmet. So I cut the mesh and then I clean the mesh to make sure it remains good, so then I can retexture it later. And then I look at the texture, what was behind, underneath this front stuff, and I found some black holes. That was horrible. And then I work on the texture. But yeah, it worked. It was then finally. I complained a lot, but it was just few remeshing and a lot of painting. But that was fine. Once I was on the texturing part, that was fine. The slight challenge on this model was, of course, the way to have a dragon at the center of the plaster. Because for that you need asymmetry, which means that you cannot keep, because most of the Warcraft models, maybe not the NPC, but most of the Warcraft models are in fact in mirror, so it means that you have only half the models, except the face, but half the models in the UV map. And globally the face are mirroring each other's from right to left. So to get something asymmetrical, you need to work on the texture but in mirror, and hoping that the polygons are very nicely aligned together, which is not always the case. So you need to do several attempts to find your symmetry for one polygon, and sometimes some polygons are stretched and you don't want that either. So yeah, that's something challenging. But I really like it. I'm this kind of weird person that doesn't like what is very symmetrical. Someone will probably watch this video and really hate me for saying that. I'm sorry. But yeah, I really like when something is not completely symmetrical. They give it more life globally, because we are not symmetrical. Not 100% symmetrical. So yeah, but the very first attempt of asymmetry was globally this dragon, to make sure that we have the head, the neck, and then the tail that follow each other's. That was the main part. Then globally the model was pretty easy to texture. And of course, since we have all these files on the file done by Krita software, I have also the different ones that I need at different time. So first the slight scratch on the head, then the big scar on the nose, and also on the hands, and start bleeding as well when you touch the blades. And then we had the model of Tho-tzen. Globally, I first wanted something that was like a red samurai to fight against a blue samurai. But very clearly, very early in the process, it was not working, because Tho-tzen for sure, for the beginning, is a Kung Fu master. So first, having a complete plate armor makes no sense. You cannot jump everywhere with a plate armor. It's pretty heavy. And also it will make not that much contrast in the scene, because you will have these two samurai and the environment is already reddish, so I was afraid that it will make the scene very saturated as well. And same as well, but even on the last design, it's not that red. It has just this scarf that is red, but all the rest is more brown style. And also in the lore of the character, it would have made no sense to use his armor, even if his family has the same kind of armor than Han-zhu. But it's way older, like century older. And it's like having a fight with a knight, like a medieval knight armor. Yeah, well, it sounds too ridiculous. And I don't think he could have fight in this rogue style with the plate armor. But that's something that I have in mind, and I really hope that one day we will see the Tzen armor, of course. Yeah, and one last thing that I would have changed if I would redo this model right now, just that Tho-tzen has more hair also. Like he has very scruffy, very spiky hair everywhere. Because he's not that old here. Looks like he's old, but he's not that old. He's like his 30s-ish something. So he looks way much older. Han-zhu is younger than Tho-tzen actually. And Mei is older, if you ask or so. So since I work with the same model for Han-zhu and Tho-tzen, there was one detail that I forgot when I import these models to the scene. It's not something that you can notice because you don't know the character. I do. It's just that Han-zhu is much bigger than Tho-tzen. Like, compared with Tho-tzen, he's just like a colossus. Han-zhu is globally the same size than Jiora'Kirh. This colossus character, colossus Pandaria. He has this long range style, so I think people thought he was a little bit weaker. That's why he needed the key to win globally. No, he could have just grabbed Tho-tzen or just crush it globally. So yeah, I will fix that later, but yeah, in this scene they are like all the same size. But it's just not the right thing. I really like this character, so at the origin he shouldn't have been there. It's just a poor Pandaria that I forgot in the background, and then I realized that it was not a bad idea to have a hero somewhere. So I decided to keep this character and to craft a story, and the time that I do all the rendering, I had already had a very good story, and now I really love this character so much. So that's why they have this very basic PvP armor for monk, and even the eyes are not rigged, and the animations are a little bit stiff because it was not attempted to be here, to be moving. But then it was way too late to change it. But later Mei-Phang will have their revenge, because so I'd spend like no time working on this model. And for the next scene, next episode, they have 2 additional outfits, so the dojo sensei and the traveler kimono. And then later they have also another outfit and the kimono, the daimyo kimono. So yeah, cause me more pain later. I was very happy with Zhu-en's models, because when I look at the Pandarian kids first, and I saw the models, I said, no way I can show it on the big screen. People will just get scared. They are like just so low poly. They are 256 pixels square. It's just awful. So I decided to use Lily's model. It was a little bit better. Scale it up, and I just repaint everything from scratch. And it worked. There is no eyeballs, that's the only problem. You cannot rig the eyes. And for these short scenes, I decided to not do it. And of course, for me, it was very cool to get transition from Gladys to Tho-tzen, because we will see also in the future that Tho-tzen is really someone that will become very important for Gladys. So the fact that her despair, the mirror to Tho-tzen's, was for me very important. And this time the particles worked. So when we see behind Tho-tzen the flaming, glowing stuff, It was particles, but I made and animated clearly on Blender. So I'll take one second to just introduce these three characters without spoiling too much the story. So the red guy, the red panda with the red scarf is Tho-tzen, as I mentioned. So he's a Pandarian from the south. The heir of the disposed clan of the Tzen. So I think that's how we can summarize this guy. He's a very powerful, very strong Kung Fu master. But as you can see, he has also other skills like with blades. So it's more also like a... It's not a shadow pen at all, but you have like a rock style as well. And then we have the blue guy with a big armor that is called Han-zhu. So this guy is a Pandarian from the north, from the Zhu clan. Very rich, very influencing clan at this time of the story. So that's why it's completely in shock, because he could never expect it to see so much violence. This character is Mei-Phang, also a member of the Zhu clan, just the Mei family, but the Zhu clan as well. I really like this jump, because it was very cool to do. It was not as complicated as I expected. And globally, when I show the very first version of the fight to my partner, they were not as enthusiastic, because first there was no jump, it was more stiff, more direct, and they were like, yeah, it's good. I said, no, what's wrong? Well, you say it's a Kung Fu master, you guy, yeah? Yes. It doesn't jump. It needs exaggerated movements. So, you mean it needs to jump? So, yeah, let's try. So since I have this distance, it was else Han-zhu running or else Tho-tzen running. So, yeah, I can try to jump and get this big movement just to reach Han-zhu and trying to attack. And that's what I tried and it worked. I like the fact that the style is much aggressive. But that's something that was not easy actually, because so you had on one part we had Tho-tzen with this Kung Fu style, with also this blade, this sai, so it's more aggressive, more melee style. On the other side you have Han-zhu, who with the main weapon is an naginata, and on the right hand he has his katana that he doesn't like using that much. So very different style. So globally not the kind of character that will really fight each other, because the style is so different. I really like this moment when Han-zhu just cut Tho-tzen's nose. But I'm not sure it was a good idea to taunt him, saying that he's not even worth a fight, but he knew it. Yeah, I think it was a very bad move. Probably more authoritarian, but was not a thing to say. I really like also. I'm very sorry for Han-zhu, but I watched this seconds so many times because I was just so happy about the movement and how it turned out. It really gives an idea also of the fighting style, of Tho-tzen fighting styles. Tho-tzen is super dangerous. It's good that Han-zhu has his helmet, otherwise he would just been dead. So actually here it should have been much longer. Actually for Han-zhu it should have been much more difficult to recover from the fight, and I also expect Mei to intervene to talk to Tho-tzen and at the same time starting to hear Han-zhu, so he can just leap back on his feet and go back to the fight. But that was not working. That was not how Tho-tzen would react. He's just so much about killing Han-zhu that he cannot just stop and talk to Mei. So I decided that Han-zhu had to move to do something, and I decided to use the key. I really like this short scene, so I will want to thank so much Duren, who helped me on this animation, because I have like no background in special effects. I did a little bit of special effects on this episode, especially for the snow that we see at the beginning in Northrend, but this I would not have been able to do it, so he very, very kindly proposed to help me in this video, and I was very happy to have his help here. I like collaborate with Duren, so yeah, that was cool to have his help here. So thanks so much again, Duren, for your help. I hope we will collaborate later on other project. I want you to do one project, you know. I hope one day I will be able to convince you to do something with brother, and we need to talk. Anyway. This sentence worked pretty well, even without the voice acting. But you need to know that at the origin, Tho-tzen should have spoken Chinese. Because in my idea, this character background and inspiration is more about the Sichuan, so a specific region of China, and of course the Zhu clan is more influenced by Japanese culture, folklore. So for me, it would make sense to have Tho-tzen speaking a language that is more closer to Chinese, and the Zhu clan characters like Han-zhu and Mei-Phang having another kind of Pandaria that is closer to Japanese. But I will have to harass all the people I know, that my friends that are between both Japanese, my Chinese friend. I cannot just ask everyone to help me crafting Chinese and Japanese Pandarian. So, and also the way I construct orcish language was also based on pictogram, scenogram, so I decided that it would be probably too much similar, because I was not thinking about being able to craft different language. I'm not Tolkien. So I said, no, let's drop this. It would be too much complicated and very complicated for my voice actors. So I said, let's try to keep it simple for now. But yeah, so when he does the movement here, I cut it, but at the origin the sentence was in Chinese. And then I just keep it what would work with the same thing in English. I like the fights. So here I like that we furtively see Dranosh's weapon, and then we switch to this ugly scene with Tyrion. But it's fine, we're already back to Pandaria. This scene, I like it. Looks very gore because we see on scene the character getting wounded with blood everywhere, but there's much more symbolism, and it's more in depth than it looks. What you see here for Han-zhu, globally, it's not that much about the scar. These characters were so close, and then finally now they are so different. It's more in depth. He felt so betrayed, and that's at this moment that the fight would go more violent globally. That's why I also decided to not show it. Because I felt that I cannot I was not able, I was I was exhausted already because it was a very long scene. And I felt like I didn't have the level yet to be able to see, to show the thing in a way that would sound, look good, and bring the right information. So I decided to drop it for now, but we'll have the opportunity, I think, to have more hints later. That's why we have like a time lapse probably. I just hope that I had the level, same as where I was at the end, just I was tired. And also I thought too late that I should have a little bit more effects here to at least help people understanding that the key start getting corrupted here. But there was too much bad key for a healer to be around, so Mei start dying. But this click in Tho-tzen mind, because he always promised it himself that he will never harm Mei. Also he understands that he lost them. I like the fact here that Han-zhu is still not done. He just wants Mei to heal Tho-tzen so he can beat him up again. He's just completely possessed by hunger. And Mei doesn't want to look at him. When he say that he will. When he say that. And they refuse to hear Tho-tzen. I really like the transition. And the music was perfect here. And it's so enigmatic to see this tiny little Pandaria. Also the armor is completely all over the place. The rig, I think something messed up with the rig because I was the way I paint everything. But I say it's fine, it's a long fight, we are super exhausted and globally it's okay, but everything is not attached very well. It makes sense, and I was like, people will not notice that much. And despite all the things that happened in such a short time, Han-zhu sees Zhu-en, so we read the Pandaria, and his heart just melts. So one thing what we can see on Han-zhu's eyes, so one eye between twist. I keep it intentionally because of a kick. The eyes will start having this slight twist. And although it will recover because I cannot leave that on the Machinima and being too much obvious because it will be very distracting. But it will keep this slight squinting thing. So globally, that's why I call him my Siamese cat. So I will show a picture, I think it will make more sense. And yeah. So that's why we have on the side that he received the kick, we see the eye a little bit shift. She's so cute. And then when Han-zhu say that, she has her eyes. Mei is so terrified. We are so cute together. I didn't expect people to be that sensitive to this scene between Zhu and Han-zhu. It seems that people really like it. And I'm happy because I really love this scene too. And then we're back to the orcs. I like this short cutscene here with all the orcs. And the Duren that looks so exhausted here. I think everyone who will have do healing for red with only orcs will relate to this. It's so much Kirk. I mean, every guy, every kid that just crosses his path becomes his kid. That's it. So that's the case for Dranosh. I like this short scene also with Karl. So that's not that complicated to do, of course, but I like the empathetic face he has here. I won't talk too much about it, but globally, Karl is able to know who will die. So he feels very empathetic for Dranosh and also for his friend who will be losing someone. And here. So I want the people from the Alliance that are watching this video to notice that I was at the end of my Machinima, and I took the effort to make a very nice symbol with the Alliance lion. Thank you. And then we switch to the very last scene. It was not the last one I did actually, because I did this one and then I switched back to Northrend. I had this scene about Dranosh, death, and Ji'sh getting his last letter too late. That's really sad. This scene should have been a little bit. This scene should have been a little bit longer, and this should also have featured Varrock, Soulfang. That's already made a lot of headcanon shortcuts, so I say, okay, if I show Varrock and I show him as a jerk kicking Ji'sh outside his house, I said no, I think people don't want to see that. So I decided no, it will be fine. People won't know. You will know if you watch this video, but people won't know. So the last scene takes place in Outland globally, even if there is no hint to give you an idea where the scene takes place. So globally it was a very very simple scene, although I experimented a little bit with the light, because I had an idea of a place that was a little bit like more desertic, dusty, so I want a very dusty light, which we don't see that much the God ray effect, because of the point of view that I decided to take. We don't see that much light effect, but at least I tried. So it was globally a very very simple scene, because I knew that it would be more focused on the character and the emotion. So I didn't want to make a tour visit of his house. So yeah, it was very short, very small. It was globally just the bedroom. And even in the bedroom there is no, not all the items that I have in mind, like the plushies, this kind of thing, because it would have been a waste of time, because we won't have seen it that much. Same as well for the model. I knew that this outfit will never be seen later, so the model will be sit most of the scenes. So I didn't want to have any details of the belt, because to be completely squeezed. So it was very simple globally. I just used an outfit that we will see more for the grunts when they are in casual style. We have like a shirt, a red shirt, with a symbol of the horde. So globally I took the same thing for this character, and just a trouser that looks a little bit very old, very not that clean, with stitches somewhere. So we give this idea that he lives in an environment that is pretty hostile. It doesn't mean that he neglects himself, but just that, well, his house, it's the morning, just yeah, globally it's a pajamas. So this character, we can talk a little bit about him. So this is Ji'sh. This is my hope monk. Also, just like Kirk is inherited from my D&D campaign. So I have this character before starting World of Warcraft actually. He's not really what we could say a smart guy, more like a punk as well. So usually takes bad decision to bad decision. Yeah, so it's not the kind of hero that we see that much with stories. He's not even an adventurer, he's not even a warrior, he's not a fighter. Just a lazy guy trying to find his place. And then we see the letter. It's written in orcish, so I really spent sometimes I had a lot of fun just crafting the pictogram of orcish here. So it's based on the language that I created for the orcs in the Machinima. So globally here, the first sentence is what we see that Dranosh is saying at the beginning of the Machinima. And here we see glowing eyes in my character. I already mentioned about it on Twitter, but my orcs can have their eyes turning red under strong emotion, and Ji'sh has a lot of problem controlling his emotion. So that's why we see his eyes turning red very often. That's why he messed up everything in his life. Messed up everything with Dranosh and everything with other characters later. I was not sure how people would react to the fact that Dranosh was gay, but seemed that everyone was okay. I received no comment and no complaint about it. I think I'm the only one taking care so much about Dranosh, so no one is fighting about that. I think that's okay. Okay, I will stop here on the title. So okay, the title, Untold Tale of Pandaria. I will have a much more opportunity to mention about it later to explain what it means, and I will also leave you interpret it the way you want. So I will focus here on the Japanese title, Pandaria Monogatari, because it's an opportunity for me to thank my Machinima friend Yaguara. So I know I met Yaguara when I start being around the environment of Machinima. When I just start at the very beginning, just doing some voice acting, and I think if I hadn't met him, I would not have tried to do 3D animation with Blender. So yeah, I think I can really thank him so much. He has always been super encouraging, giving me feedback. It's also reciprocal now because I share some tips, he shares some. We communicate a lot about our respective projects, very different, and at the same time we still bounce back and forth on the same topics, so that's funny. So yeah, I would like just to say arigato gozaimasu to Yaguara. Also now he also helped me a lot with Japanese, of course. So yeah, I found the name of Pandaria Monogatari that is just so perfect. I'm not good at finding title, but this one just works so great. So globally, a Monogatari is a form of Japanese literature, a tale, globally like an epic tale. It was originally an old tradition, and then it got written. There are different types of tale of Monogatari, and the Heike Monogatari is the one that fit super well with the Pandaria story, because it's a epic tale about the conflict between the Taira clan and the Minamoto clan to control the Japan during the Genpei War. So that is perfect. This will be more likely for the episode 3, not episode 2. I will explain why. So globally, for the feedback I got from this episode, the prologue, it was, I think people enjoyed it. It was a bit confusing, aside from the fact that it was a bit violent, maybe, for Machinima, it was also very confusing because of all the characters all over the place. Nothing looks very connected. So, because of that, I decided that starting on scene 2, as I previously played, might be even more confusing. So I decided to sit down, which is difficult for me to stay quiet. So I decided to do that with my characters, and especially with the Pandaria. So give the time to see their evolution, how they recover from the fight, and how the little Pandaria grow up, etc. So I think this is important. So it's better to explain this here quietly before running, dancing, fighting again. So yeah. So okay, I think we'll stop here. If you arrive at the very end of this video, you're really brave. I'm proud of you, of your patience too. And thank you so much. What else? So, if you like this kind of making up, watch through, just let me know. So I will try to do more in the future. If you want me to talk about very specific point, yeah, tell me as well. Feel free to follow me on the social media. I'm not that active there, but you can find me on Twitter. Also, I have a Tumblr for this project, probably. My Tumblr is my journey about 3D animation, about these characters. So usually I just share things as well, character design, etc. And also I talk about my wonderful 4 pandas. So yeah, that's my cozy place. And for this project I have also a Discord, but I give an invitation only on demand to avoid having bots joining or getting the things out of control, because I have no time for moderation. So yeah, if you want to be on the Discord, just let me know. I will give you the invitation. Globally, I think that's it for now. I'm really looking forward to share with you the next episode, because I love these scenes. I think I love more these scenes than my whole prologue. So yeah, and I hope you will enjoy them too. So thank you so much for watching this video. See you next time. Bye.